everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are really excited. We are going to be giving you this a little Christmas in August because this is when this will air. A little leftover from Christmas in July. And it's the start of a kind of a fun new series. And we'll explain about it in a minute. But I'm film critic Rachel Wagner. Natasha's here.
Hi,
How,
hello.
how
Hi
are you
everyone.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's just tomorrow's a Monday for me, so I'm like,
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Merry Christmas in July/August.
It's the first time I'm celebrating so early, so I'm excited, I guess.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, yeah.
It is kind of fun to watch a Christmas movie off season. Would you agree?
Uh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
is.
I mean, it
Uh,
really it I don't know. It just all the tropes and all the other stuff just feel all the more special to me. It's just like it's if you're feeling depressed, that's what I recommend. Watch a Christmas movie off season. That's what I would do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the perfect shot of dopamine or
Yes.
serotonin or whatever, all the feel good stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Well, what we're doing today, and we need to think of some kind of catchy little slogan or whatever for this new series. Because what we're going to be doing is we're taking on Rotten Tomatoes. Both of us are Rotten Tomatoes verified critics, and there's a lot of rom-coms that holiday and non-holiday that are rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, and there's a lot even more that are like barely fresh. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/hallmarkies. So Iris is Kate Winslet's character, and her arc is basically she starts out, she has just been in love with this guy, Jasper, and she works for a publishing house, right? I think.
For a publication
Yeah, yeah,
newspaper.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's a writer, he's editing his book, she's editing his book. He had cheated on her and she just can't make the break. I mean, and that would be really hard for somebody that you have to work with,
Yeah.
like how do you
Yeah.
get that closure when he's right there all the time?
Yeah. And he's always like texting her as well, right? Even when he's not
Yeah.
there. Yeah, yeah. So he's always there. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. So you really feel for her. And I think that that's part of what gives her character why I think people are more team Kate Winslet, because you just feel such empathy for her. And she does give a really good performance, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that. I think the story is mostly kind of narrated by her. Like she
Uh-huh.
starts the opening narration of the story, and then it kind of really feels that despite the fact that, there's this ensemble, there's a whole other bunch of stories going on, but I feel like it's her story. Like the holiday is really about her character, her arc.
Uh-huh.
I think she's given, I think that most the I guess the most growth, I guess,
Yeah.
in
And I
terms
guess
of yeah.
yeah, and I guess the reason why the Jack Black part doesn't really bother me is because I do think the whole thing with the composers and everything is real charming, and there's some real fun moments for him. But I really don't think it's the primary relationship for Iris. I mean, I think that her and Arthur are the main like relationship that I'm invested in. That friendship,
Yeah.
that she
Yeah.
gets is very, very, very sweet. I mean, and she definitely got the better side of the deal with the house swap.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Amanda making trailers can afford this house. Like, I mean, I know you could do well, but not like what? I don't know. What is this thing? It probably cost $25 million house
Yeah, the
in
house is
LA. I
like
don't know.
amazing.
I,
Yeah.
but it is a really incredible house. Just the blind spot curtains that she has.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's a dream.
Yeah. I think I would choose to stay in that house.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Over
if I
in,
think about it too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
As nice as, Kate Winslet's house is as well,
yeah.
but I think, yeah.
What was so interesting though, so I looked up some information. I found that neither house was actually really real. The
Mm-hmm.
house in LA, they did take the front of it, but everything else was all a set, which I don't know, I found that wild. I thought that was really interesting. And then everything in the English house is fake. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that I don't know, I thought that was amazing. I
Yeah.
found this article. It says that Rose Hill Cottage of the film doesn't exist in reality. The exteriors were built from scratch in a field, and the interiors are all sets. Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing?
Yeah. Yeah. It so is. Yeah, but that's Nancy Meyer's gift, right? Like she's really good, I think, with interior spaces because a lot of her film
Yeah.
is in the interior. So I think she creates this sense of like the space feels believable. Like you believe that this house belongs to this
Huh.
person. She makes it livable, like even in The Parent Trap, right? That their
Yeah.
houses feel very homey, they feel lived in. Yeah, like that's her skill, I would say.
I was just
Yeah.
shocked though that house in England isn't real. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
They you assume that okay the inside, but I don't know that was all built. I don't know. I thought that was really incredible.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh
The pub is real. The pub is real.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah. If
Yeah, it says
if
here
anyone wants the experience.
yeah, it says the cottage from the holiday has become a phenomenon, summing up the best of English cottage look and creating a dream of Christmas in the countryside for thousands. The exterior
Yeah,
of the cottage, lightly dusted in snow, is like a composite of all the honey-colored, slightly wonky cottages you can stumble across everywhere in Yorkshire. And all the features are there, including wooden beams, an open fire, slightly shabby country kitchen of our dreams, faded chintzes, and that tiny, beautiful roll top bath. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I just figured like you just figured that they're just using a an
Like a
exterior of some
house.
house,
Yeah,
like that they would build
yeah.
this whole thing just for this movie. I don't know. I just found that amazing. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So Amanda, her big thing. This is Cameron Diaz's character. She has been living with this guy for quite a while. Played by Ed Burns. She throws him out. He first says, "Oh, I didn't cheat on you," and then finally he does admit, "I did cheat on you." And her big thing is that she hasn't cried since she was 15.
Yeah, since her parents' divorce
Yeah.
news,
And
right? Yeah.
yeah. And she tries to cry. She can't cry. And what about you? Would you say you're a crier or not? Not so much.
Oh man, I'm a crier.
Yeah, me too.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
it's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Like public waterworks. I cry all over the place. It's very easy to get me tearing up. I mean, and people are like, oh, I fought the. I'm like, why? Why? Just feel how you feel. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, some people just don't. Like my brother doesn't hasn't cried since like childhood. And I was just like teasing him about it. I was like, when do you ever cry? Yeah, I don't know. He
he
doesn't
needs
cry anymore.
he needs to get a similar experience of Amanda. He needs to get
Yeah. He
real
needs like
cry.
the Jude Law.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it is kind of funny the actors that you see in just small roles in this that went on to become pretty big names. See Catherine Hahn, John Krasinski is in this thing for like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And and so uh then they decide they're going to switch places. And Amanda says, "Are there any men in your town?" Zero, which is funny. And what's interesting is that a lot of the reviews criticize this movie because it's too like bourgeois. It's too the
Hmm.
fantasies of the super rich, which fair
Yeah.
enough. They're both pretty well off, but like I feel like at its core, it's not really that bougie of an experience. They just go on vacation. I mean, yes, her house, Amanda's house is obviously very
Yeah.
luxurious, but
Yeah.
at the core, it's just two women going on vacation, switching houses. I mean, I don't. It's not like it's Sex in the City 2, which is that is a
Mm.
disgusting first one. Like it's a gross movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I just feel like to me it just seems like a weird critique of this movie of like two women just trying to survive a breakup, just trying to survive breakups and going on vacation. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like very fair critique
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like despite I guess their class or their wealth or their status, I feel like there's still something very relatable about both these women. I
Yeah.
think we've all experienced very similar, I think, romantic situations. So I never felt like, I guess Amanda is quite wealthy, but I think I never really felt that, whatever's being portrayed on screen is like, I'm exempt from it. Like I can't relate
Yeah.
to it in any way. So I think that's fine. I think as long as a film is able to relate to the viewer in some way, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think your mention of Sex and the City is quite apt. Like especially I think in And Just Like That,
Yeah.
if you look at the way they live, their problems, like it's just so out of reach. Where while Sex and the City was so relatable and authentic, I think the
Yeah.
contrast is so pronounced. Yeah, so I never felt that. But I know that that's a critique that Nancy Myers gets a lot of the time, right? Even in It's Complicated and Something's is it Something's Gotta Give? No.
Yeah. Something's got to give.
'Cause, yeah, yeah. So their homes
Yeah.
are, really like lush and these are wealthy women, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So mhm.
But at the core, the plot is just them going on vacation. Like I don't feel like it's that like bougie of I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
you can still relate to these women very much. And so they switch places and or switch homes and then she um they do have it's kind of interesting with Amanda. They do have the trailer voice like narrating
Uh,
along which I think is
yeah.
kind of fun. Amanda
Yeah.
Woods, these things.
Yeah.
uh,
It's fun.
and so they both get settled in their places and uh, uh, they both get settled in their places and Iris messaged Jasper, "We both know I need to fall out of love with you. Would be great if you would let me try." He's so
Yeah.
selfish. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's even with that he still doesn't listen. He doesn't. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
And so then we have her first night, Graham, Jude Law, shows up at her at the cottage. And I mean, this is, if you're talking about fantasies, the biggest fantasy of all is that they would have this fling. I mean, it doesn't really like make sense. I mean, I guess he is a little bit sloshed. He usually stays at Iris's place when he goes out on his free weekends, and she's there, and he kisses her, and he says, "Would you mind trying that again?"
Yeah.
Weird kissing a total stranger. And then she says, "I'm thinking we should have sex if you want." And she says, "I'm not very good at this," which seems like all the more, if she's so insecure, all the more reason that she would never do this in a million years. But whatever. Like, that's the escapism to me.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess if she's bad at it, who's he gonna tell?
Yeah.
Like, he's just gonna,
I'm
he's
just saying,
like, you know.
if she's so insecure, she wouldn't make that like proposition.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like it was more of her kind of saying like, okay, you know, like don't get disappointed, you know, if it's not gonna be good. Like she's just, I don't know. But you are right
But he
in a
looks
sense,
so hot in this movie. I mean, oh my gosh. And when he puts on the glasses, it's a good look
Yeah.
for Jude Law.
Yeah. Yeah. His reason for it was scary because he said like he misplaced his contact lenses or something like that. Like he's like, I couldn't find them or something like that. And I was like, that's scary. Like that's legitimately scary. It's like, you know, has a glasses contact lens wearing person. That's my nightmare. Like, you know, wake up and have like no idea where your contact lens is. It's like it could just roll to the back of your head. It's like scary. So but he was just like, oh yeah, I got my glasses and
It's true.
yeah.
But he's Jude Law. Oh, he does the nerd chic. Very good.
Yeah.
Very
He looks
good.
like, how is it possible that he can wear the glasses and he looks even better? Like, this is not fair.
It's true. I mean, and her character is unreasonably stupid in this movie. I mean, she doesn't know how to. She doesn't look to see. She doesn't look to see that the coffee maker is plugged in. I mean, it's kind of like, come on. Wow. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Factor Meals. Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/hallmarkies50 and use code hallmarkies50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code hallmarkies50 at factormeals.com/hallmarkies50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Definitely check out Factor Meals. We know you'll love them. And she says to him, "I'm not going to fall in love with you," which is really classic rom-com. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And and then you get the trailer. Amanda went looking for love, but that doesn't mean it didn't. That doesn't mean it didn't find her. And
yeah.
And so then this is when Iris sees Arthur. He is kind of wandering alone, and she stops and sees he's lost. and he didn't recognize the houses. And this is a very good thing. Like if you see an older person like alone, it's good to sort of stop and be like, are you okay? Can I help you? Because they can wander. And this
Yeah.
happened. My grandfather, he was visiting us in California. He was beginning of Alzheimer's, and he wandered off. And we actually had to have everybody was looking for him. A pool man ended up finding him in the back of these people's house. Like it was crazy. And
Oh,
yeah, it was really scary. And so if you do ever see an older person, like it never hurts to just say, is everything okay here? Do you need help?
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
and just, make sure everything's fine. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that was good that she did that. And it's their meet cute.
Yeah.
And I love
He kind of
Arthur.
references it, right? He kind of
Yeah.
mentions that, yeah, if this was a movie, this would be our meet cute. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cute. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's supposed to be this writer, this legendary writer who helped on Casablanca and all this stuff. And I just love this. I love stories of friendship, and so it's my favorite part of the film is the friendship between Iris and Arthur.
Yeah, it's really very sweet.
Mhm.
Like, I think people who read more into it are just kind of weird.
Oh
Like, I think,
no.
yeah. Some people
What?
feel like he's kind of creepy or something like that, but I
Oh.
feel like that's just, I mean, they've always been purely, I think, platonic. Like, it's just
Oh
a very
yeah.
sweet, yeah, kind of friendship. Yeah. So, people just want reasons to hate on things, I think.
That's absurd. There's never
Yeah.
a second of anything but just him being a total gentleman, very sweet. He brings her a corsage and sorry, I'm a little corny. And she says that I need a little more corny in my life.
Yeah. Such a good line. Such a
So
good line.
good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh, and then he says, we have leading ladies and best friends in movies. You are a leading lady, but for some reason you're behaving like the best friend. Oh, that's the best
Yeah.
line in the whole movie. There's
Yeah.
no question. It's really good.
Yeah.
and and then so Amanda and Graham get up in the morning. No one has ever had that much to drink.
Oh yeah,
And
their second kind of
yeah,
date,
the
right?
second
Yeah.
night. And he says, call me crazy, call me old fashioned, but you don't have sex with women who are unconscious. Good move,
Yeah.
Graham. Thank you. And he says, we
Yeah.
should get to know each other. And she says, why? Because I'm running out of reasons why we shouldn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good. And this is when she tells him about that she hasn't cried since she was 15. And her
Yeah.
parents got divorced. And he's like, I'm a major weeper. And I agree. Same.
Yeah, it's so cute. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
So
think she references how they're called the Three Musketeers. Like she talks about that, and there's like
mm,
a callback later to that moment, which was very sweet, I thought.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is sweet. And so then we have Jasper sending Iris his book, which is just the worst. He's the worst.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I've known
And
too many Jaspers in my life, I feel.
oh no.
Sadly. It's
Uh,
okay now. It's okay now, but
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so then there's a cute Hanukkah scene in this where they have a Hanukkah
Yeah.
meal with Arthur and Jack Black's there. And Jack Black his character has been Miles. His name Miles has been kind of clinging on to this girl Maggie, who kind of it doesn't want to make a commitment, doesn't really care, just kind of it's like he's just not into you kind of situation, but with
Yeah.
her.
it's a parallel, right? Like Iris and Jasper's relationship is basically Miles' relationship with Maggie. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, allowing her to see, Miles and that relationship kind of makes her realize, how toxic things are with her and Jasper and that whole thing that they have going on. Yeah. So it's a very necessary arc and, narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean I don't mind Jack Black in this. I think he's cute.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
charming and I'm fine with it. Like, yeah, maybe not the most realistic and because Kate Winslet's so stunning, but whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I
But
do
he's really
sometimes,
funny. Yeah.
yeah, he's funny, he's cute. I mean, I get annoyed sometimes with this whole like what was that one with Seth Rogen. I mean, Seth Rogen's been in a million like that with
Knocked out.
yeah, I mean, definitely
Mm.
I mean, there's Knocked Up and then the other one with Charlize Theron. Can't
Long
remember.
shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I like both of those films, but I don't know. They were just like, come on. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and I
yeah.
guess what gets me is you almost never see the reverse. Hardly ever do you see the more everyman woman and the supermodel guy. You hardly ever see
Yeah,
that, and I would like to,
yeah.
but I don't, it's fine. I bought it. I thought they were fine. And anyway, and he's cute when he gives her two kisses and he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to kiss twice and linger."
Yeah.
Cute.
He lingered on the second kiss,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And then things are really cute between Cameron Diaz and the between Amanda. Things are really cute between Amanda and the little girls when she meets them. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
fun. The whole slumber
yeah,
party thing. And I love that when you get the scene of their hands are really close and they're getting real close. Yeah,
yeah,
like that's so I love a subtle handhold, almost more than even a kiss. I know there's just something so
yeah.
sweet and tender about it.
Yeah, I like all these like subtle moments in romance films, like
I do too.
the Darcy hand clench
Oh yeah,
in Pride and Prejudice. Yeah,
me
it's like, I
too.
love when they kind of cue us in to this like subtle moments. Yeah, and the two little girls are like so adorable and so lovely. I think usually like children in Christmas films are like monsters. Or
Right.
like,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like, up to no good kind of thing. But yeah, they're really like nice, and I think they love their father so much. It's like really sweet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
I mean
says,
they're
I can't
fictional, obviously.
Yeah, and he says, I can't imagine anyone being a bigger hit with my children. Oh, so
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, yeah,
And he says that I compartmentalize my life. And I definitely relate to that because that's totally the way I am. Like I have, in About a Boy, when she talks about living his life in units, like here's like two
yeah.
units for this, 2 units. That's totally the way I am. I'm like, okay, there's this block for this, and then the next block, and then moving on to the next block, and then I'm going to focus on this, and then that's how
Oh
I am. That's how I get so
wow.
much done. Is that
Yeah,
I have everything scheduled. And I don't know. Like that's just the way that things work for me.
yeah. Oh.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's organized, but it's also like, wow, Rachel, how do you do it? I don't know. I could never do that. I can't. Like,
Yeah. Well, I find that I'm actually a lot happier than when I try to just like have like free time or there's nothing like I mean, like it's not
um,
that I don't know how to explain it, but like I just kind of like I do a lot of fun things, but I like just having it kind of a basic plan, to kind of okay, like
mhm,
I think spontaneity is vastly overrated. It's not
mhm.
vastly
So true,
overrated.
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would agree. I would agree on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm with Graham on this one. We also get
yeah.
Arthur saying 9 movies opening today, and now a movie has to make a killing the first weekend and even to be successful. And you just think, oh my gosh, how much worse is it now?
Yeah, oh my God, he's a
The
fortune teller.
2006.
Basically, yeah. I mean, this is basically everyone's like issue this year, right? Everyone's gripe, right?
Yeah,
So many movies are like moving so quickly to streaming,
yeah,
because they don't turn a profit immediately. It's like it's really, really sad. Yeah.
yeah. And there's not that, it's pretty rare when you have like a Greatest Showman kind of experience where something can really like bloom and grow and become a hit.
Yeah.
That's very rare these
Yeah.
days. Very, very rare. But yeah, so and so we have this blockbuster scene with Miles, and I forgot this is like pretty late in the movie. I was thinking this was earlier, but it's really not,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
always remember it being earlier, but it's actually fairly like late.
Yeah,
It's like after the second act, I would
yeah,
say. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And he's going through all the different scores, Chariots of Fire, Jaws. It's fun when he does Driving Miss Daisy because that's Hans Zimmer, who's the composer for this movie, which is fun.
Rachel, the score is so good. Like I think I realized it like last year, I think when I was rewatching The Holiday and then I saw like Hans Zimmer's name. And I was like, damn, I didn't know he did the score for the film. No
Yeah,
wonder it's so good. Yeah.
yeah, it
It really
really is.
elevates, those romantic tension moments.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So much,
it's really good.
yeah.
And I mean, Hans Zimmer, he has a lot of underappreciated scores. I mean, I think people forget that he did the Prince of Egypt. He did the score for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot, and but then even like he did the Kung Fu Panda movies. He has a lot of things that I think people just don't realize that he did,
Yeah,
and this
because
is
I think
certainly
he's
one of
become
them.
so synonymous with Nolan.
Yeah,
Like he became like, really, really well known after Inception, I would say.
yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah,
Yeah, and Dune and things like that. That people forget that he also has done like these smaller ones and the
yeah,
animated
was really
films.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course Lion King. I love
Yeah.
little hit
Yeah.
there. Obscure film. I really liked this little interaction between Miles and Iris when he says, "Why do I always fall for the bad girl?" And she says, "You didn't know she was a bad girl." And he says, "I knew she wasn't good. Why am I attracted to a person I know isn't good?" And then Iris says, "I happen to know the answer to this because you're hoping you're wrong. And every time she does something that tells you she's no good, you ignore it. And every time she comes through and surprises you, she wins you over and you lose that argument with yourself that she's not for you." And then Miles says, "Exactly. And on top of that, there's the old standby. I can't believe a girl like this would actually be with a guy like me." And so yeah, I mean, I just thought that was a pretty good little honest,
Yeah.
authentic
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
because I think that at a certain degree all of us have a certain degree of insecurity when it comes to relationships.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
I can't believe that anybody would
Um,
want to be with me. Everybody I know, at least I don't know anybody that's just like hyper confident and like you know
yeah.
yeah
Yeah, I would agree. I think because, you know, people like Jasper and people like Maggie, they use like techniques like breadcrumbing, when you kind of move on, you're like, okay,
mm,
I'm
yeah
better without them, and then they kind of drop little breadcrumbs, of hope, and then you're like, oh, is there something more? And you get kind of sucked in again. So every time you feel like you've kind of moved on, they bring you back
yeah
again. Yeah.
yeah Oof,
So
it's rough.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
rough, man.
Yeah, they're very manipulative. Very, very manipulative.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Then we have this, things are moving forward pretty quickly between Amanda and Graham. And they say long distance relationships can work. And he says he's in love with her. And he's like, I can't deny it. I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
And he says,
yeah.
He says, I have another scenario for you. I'm in love with you. I apologize for the blunt delivery, but as problematic as this fact may be, I'm in love with you. I'm not feeling this because you're leaving and not because it feels good to feel this way, which, by the way, it does. I can't figure the mathematics of this. I just know I love you. I can't believe how many times I'm saying it. And I never thought I'd feel this way again. So that's pretty phenomenal. And I realized that I come as a package deal, 3 for the price of 1. I know my package, perhaps in the light of day, isn't all that wonderful, but I finally know what I want, and that in itself is a miracle, and what I want is you.
Yeah. As far as romantic declarations go, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what I love so much about Jude Law in this film is that his character, I always feel that actors, when they get to a certain caliber of being known and being well known and being maybe an A-lister, they kind of feel that this genre is beneath them.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really play, I think, into what is necessary for the character. But he just gives it his all, man. He's like schmaltzy, he's emotional, he's sensitive. He just does it all, and it's believable, Yeah.
It's true. And I would say the same thing for Kate Winslet. She's an Oscar-winning actress. She's so talented, but throughout her career, she's never been above any particular genre or performance. She always gives it her all, 100%. Even if the movie doesn't work, that she's acting her best in the role. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
And so this is also where we get the accidental boob craze. That was really funny. Really good. But then Maggie calls and she puts on, oh, I missed you. Oh, I'm like, oh, I missed you. And then we get Jasper surprising her, Iris, at the house. And she's like, you're the worst. Like, what does he expect? He really thinks that, so he what could, I guess if there was an unrealistic part of this movie, that's probably that he would still think that he could be engaged and be getting married to this other woman, but then fly across the world to see Iris, who he has previously dated. And the fact that his fiance wouldn't be upset about this. I mean, I would think that he wouldn't do that just for that reason alone, is that even if he didn't think that it would matter, the fact that there's no way that a fiance is not going to be like, what are you doing? You're going to California? I don't know. I just feel like there's landmines all over the place and that he would never do this. But it's the worst.
Yeah. I mean, he's a liar, so I feel like he could just have lied about something,
I guess
my book, I need to be in,
be saying somewhere
for
else.
some book stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, but I wanted to talk about the boob grace.
Yeah.
Do you read about the backstory about how it came to be? Apparently, Jack Black did it accidentally to Nancy Myers.
Oh, he did.
And she found it. And she found it so hilarious, she wrote it into the film.
Oh, so
it was like, yeah. I love that the film has all these little tidbits, like the house, the story about the houses, and then the Dustin Hoffman scene in the Blockbuster video
Yeah.
scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's like,
It's
ooh.
fun. It's really fun. That is
Yeah.
hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So then Jasper, he's putting on the moves, and then she calls him out. She says that you're still engaged. And she says, I'm miraculously done being in love with you. So that was good. That was a good moment
Yeah.
for her character. And then she picks up Arthur, and he says, you're a knockout, and he gives her a corsage. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little corny. I like corny. I need more of that in my life. Really sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love I mean, I love fresh flowers in any form, whether it's corsage or anything. Like, I just that's like a life goal, to be wealthy enough to always have fresh flowers in my house.
Oh,
That'd be my dream.
yeah, that's really nice.
I just
Yeah.
love fresh flowers. And so this is when Miles asks her to New Year's Eve. And so that's sweet. And then Graham and Iris, they're going to be saying goodbye. And she gets in the car, and she cries for the first time since she was 15.
Yeah.
And then she runs back to him, and he's been crying, which I think is a really sweet thing. Is they both,
Yeah.
she's finally crying. She shows up. He's crying. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would cry too if I had to leave Jude Law.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, Jude Law. Yeah.
And why would I ever leave before New Year's Eve? And then so they all end up in Los Angeles at the house for New Year's Eve. So they're all together at the end, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all in England, right?
No,
At
they're
the
in
end?
no, they're in Los Angeles at the end.
Mm,
The girls
but
and
it's
everybody.
snowing. But
No,
it's
but they're definitely at that.
I'm pretty sure they're back at Kate Winslet and Jack Black come back, and then Amanda and Graham stay. And then if you remember the last part, it's snowing as they dance in the house, and they're in, I think, Kate Winslet's house.
For sure it was the fancy house. Oh, anyway, I've written down Los Angeles. Sorry. Anyway, they're all together.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So I asked on Twitter what people think of the movie, and got some different answers. Rachel Masters says, I'm neutral on the holiday. I really only wanted to follow Kate Winslet through the story, so the concept didn't do much for me. Though house trading is very interesting. I would highly recommend the Talking Pictures podcast interview of Nancy Myers. I have a new perspective on the look after listening to this, so that's interesting to check out. She says, guilty pleasure we watch once a year at Christmas time. I recognize it's not good, but we enjoy it for what it is. I don't understand this idea of it, and they always do good in quotation marks. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, something is good or it's not good. Like, basically, I feel like people, when they say this, are saying that it's impossible for romantic comedy to be actually good.
Yeah, they mean that basically it's like good for the genre. Like it's it's like a trashy good, not like, but I don't feel like the holiday falls into that category. I would say like something like maybe a Castle for Christmas, like that's kind of like a bit corny, a bit cheesy, not very good.
Yeah,
But
he
you're
says,
kind of entertained by it. Yeah.
he says, I meant it's good in the way Van Helsing isn't a good movie, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. The plot is a little silly. The leads are able to just pick up and leave their continent and house. I don't understand. What? How is it silly? Like, people go on vacation all the time. Like, this is something people swap houses all the time. Like, people stay in each other's houses at VRBO. Like, this is not some This is not about Dracula. Like, and what? Like, I I just don't understand. Like, I sincerely believe there is major genre bias, and there is a whole realm of people that would never give a high score to a romantic comedy. It could be a literal perfect movie, and it would still, just for
Yeah.
the genre that it's in, it would be considered. It would just be lesser. It's so frustrating to me. Like, I'll read these reviews and people are like, "Oh, it was so good, such great chemistry," so blah 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 blah. They're like 2 stars. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
I think the
so
constant gripe that people give is like, oh, it's predictable. But lots of
yeah,
movies I feel are predictable. They all follow certain narrative arcs, right? A certain, tropes, whatever it is. I mean, we're not just sitting here trying to get through like a M. Night Shyamalan kind of thing,
yeah.
right? Not all movies, I think, have to have
Oh,
twists or
thank
be
goodness.
unexpected. Yeah, I think it can be predictable and still be very entertaining, and I think still be good, right? I think
Yeah,
what makes a good film good, right? Good characters, good chemistry, good vibes, atmosphere. Like,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I just will never
Mm,
understand that perspective. I think we need more genre pictures, not less. I think we need more stories with that are familiar and comforting and wonderful. And then it's all about how did they execute it with the banter and the performances and the chemistry and all of that. And so it's frustrating. Becky, she says, adore it, watch it every year. The girly nerd says, I love the holiday so much. It's such a comforting and positive film, and the cast is flawless. It's the second favorite rom com, my second favorite rom com ever, and definitely my favorite holiday rom com. Let's see. Nostalgicast actually says, he says it's more of Meyer's designer porn, which is kind of a genre in and of itself. But the cast is charming. Wallach is a welcome treat, and I adore that Zimmer score. I love the scene in the blockbuster when Black shows Winslet a copy of Driving Miss Daisy, which Zimmer also scored. Greg Earhart says underrated. Tom Source is one of my favorites, required to watch every year. Bree says I love it. Paul Klein says, I like it. It's like a Terry's chocolate orange, lovely, sweet, and a little sickly, quintessentially Christmas. And Bennett Campbell says, my favorite Nancy Meyers film. And Dylan Quella says, genuine cinematic excellence. Very good. Very, very, very good. So I think we can both confidently say we'll be adding 2 fresh
yeah.
to
Yeah,
it's Rotten Tomato.
absolutely.
Maybe that'll bump it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can I read my? I think after I watched it, I tweeted about it.
Yes, please.
And I think this is what I said. I think it was in response to seeing your tweet about it. And I said, rewatching The Holiday for podcast prep, and it's still so utterly charming. It's like a warm hug, perfect for any time of the year, but especially fitting for Christmas. The cast is stellar, and Jude Law as Daddy Mr. Napkinhead is so swoon worthy. My TV caught fire.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and now you can
yeah.
make that your quote on RT
It's
because you said it in the
yeah.
episode. You should.
Yeah.
Yes. And really so many of the reviews I was reading on RT are just so frustrating for this film. People that so clearly didn't even really give it a chance, that
Yeah.
talking about it being
Yeah.
a chick flick. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Are you a professional? Did you actually just use the word chick flick in your review? I can believe it.
Yeah.
Multiple people. And it's just like, wow, it's just sad.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be
Yeah.
so
I mean that
frustrated if I was Nancy Meyers and knew that there were like a whole range of people that wouldn't even give my movie a chance. That like
yeah.
immediately are just gonna dock it a couple stars just like out of the gate, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of critics or certain people with bias kind of use that term chick flick to reduce, I think,
Yeah,
or to basically criticize a film. Like a lot of people say, like, oh, Jane Austen is chick flick, right, or chick romances, right, which I feel is just very unfair and reductive. Yeah,
yeah.
but I think that's what they do. Yeah,
What made me
which is
really
not fair. Which
mad
is not
is
fair.
So there are two in a row. One says, no amount of ironic gift wrapping can conceal the triteness within in this double-plotted festive chick flick that is too long by half and too cloyingly sweet to be healthy. And I'm like, okay, I guess I can deal with the too long thing. It is a little bit too long, but it's just such it's just such a dismissive review and just a festive chick flick. And then another one, about as far removed from burning your bra as you can get. Too much of this chick flick feels like work, with the unfortunately long-running time sandbagging it with a kind of cinematic jet lag. Okay, buddy, like not every movie for women has to be a burning your bra movie. Okay. Like when I get so annoyed when the only definition of feminism is that women aren't allowed to fall in love. You're not allowed to have a partner, that you can't be happy, that the only thing that's a valid life choice for women is evidently being miserable, and they can't have a movie where they go on vacation. Like, I just don't understand why this is like so whoa, this is out there fantasy world. Like, I get the houses are impressive, but aside from that, what is so insane about this movie? They literally just swap houses.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and
I mean, I guess they both fall in love, but I mean, this is something you see all the time, and even something like Disney, they have fallen sway to this, that like if you give your female character a partner, they are less of a strong woman. They're less of a powerful character, which is crap, and I hate it. You know, like, you know, it's just like, you're not making women stronger by literally limiting their life choices. Say you can only do this. That's the only valid way to live. You can't be a stay-at-home mom. You can't fall in love. You can't get married. You can't I mean that, and like that's just it's the worst. I hate it.
Yeah. It's the girl boss narrative, right?
Yeah.
That, I think a lot of I think even TV shows where, there's like a love triangle, right? And then everyone's like, oh, the only fitting thing is that if she ends up by herself, she should be single at the end of the series. And I'm just like, where's the fun in that? Like, come on. Like, I watched this entire show so that she could pick someone and I could see her in a romantic relationship. I think, what's wrong with that? Yeah.
Like, true feminism is about giving women any option that they want, and to live a happy life, to be happy. It's not about you have to make these choices to be a burning your bra movie. You know,
if I want to fall in love with Jude Law, I think I'm allowed to fall in love with Jude Law.
I'm so mad about this review. It's the worst. So there we go. That is our thought about The Holiday. It's a really fun film. I just don't understand. I really don't. But anyway, there we go. That's our thoughts on The Holiday. We already came up with a pretty big list of rotten movies that we're going to take a look at over the next little bit, and it's going to be fun. But if you're listening and you have one that you think is good that's also rotten on Rotten Tomatoes that we could take a look at, put in the comments, and that'll be a lot of fun. And to make sure you check our Twitters and stuff, because I'll post like once our reviews get posted on Rotten Tomatoes for this. That'll be really fun. But if people want to follow you, Natasha, how do they do that?
They can follow me on X at Lit My Soul. My work is on Cultured Vouchers. Yeah, so that's where they can find me.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, and rachelsreviews.net. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is so much fun, a great way to support us, and the merch store. So take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye.